Alrighty, and welcome back to another episode of 161st and River. And today we're going to be doing an episode that I did not want to have to make this week. That I was really hoping that the next time we spoke would have been like Friday evening, and we would have done a nice Friday night edition of 161st and River. Instead, where I would be from my bedroom at home, heading home for Thanksgiving. Instead, we're talking today, and we'll talk again Friday, no problem. Love doing this, but I was hoping that I wouldn't have to come on here today because what I said last night was, well, I'm getting home from work at 8:30, ended up staying out a little bit later and talking to some friends, and I'm tired and want to get some rest, and this is a very long week, but I'm going to come on here if Trent Grisham accepts the qualifying offer. I'm here because Trent Grisham accepted the qualifying offer. I was in a meeting doing something and presenting, and I'm standing up there, and everyone knows, what I do in my role, and I'm going to talk more about that sort of stuff in a minute when it pertains to an update on this page here. And I look down at my phone, and I'm in a Discord with a bunch of people, and I see in there Trent Grisham accepts qualifying offer from Jorge Castillo of ESPN. I'm like, no fucking way Heyman got it wrong again. Because Heyman reported last week, no, he's not accepting it. The Yankees were worried, but he's not accepting it. Well, something changed in the past week, and he did accept it. So Heyman wrong again, of course, because why not? He's on my list every offseason. I create a list of people that no one should trust. John Heyman is on the list. Andy Martino is on the list because both of them are untrustworthy. Morosi is on the list, and there are certain guys that are on a list that you can't trust these people. Jorge Castillo of ESPN, I'm going to add him to the people you can trust because he's become very trustworthy for the Yankees because him and Jeff Passan kind of have the same guys. So yeah, he's trustworthy. So I'll add him to the list tomorrow. I'll update that list. Something you should keep in mind this offseason. There are certain guys you trust. There are certain guys you don't. Joel Sherman slowly but surely working himself off the don't trust this guy list. Grisham gets the qualifying offer. He accepts it. 22.5 million or 22.05 million for a year. So he can't get the qualifying offer again, thank God. But he's back. Trent Grisham is back for next season. I want to first say congratulations to Trent Grisham and his family on your payday. Because the rant I'm about to go on is nothing against Trent Grisham. It is fully against the New York Yankees and the front office and their allocation of funds. How many years do we have to go through this that we have Yankee people who probably know some people? Joel Sherman is kind of connected. John Heyman thinks he has sources. I think they just use him. I think, his whole thing right now with, though the Yankees are still going after Cody Bellinger, is coming from Scott Boras. I'm trying to adjust this. And I'll talk about that in a second. Because that goes along the way of, like, this is why you don't trust this person. This is why you do trust that person. I have no problem with Trent Grisham. I don't. I have a problem with Trent Grisham coming back at $22 million. While they didn't think up until it literally happened that he was actually going to take the $22 million offer, he took the $22 million. And now you're handcuffed. If we're led to believe you're going to stay under $300 million, then according to Fangraphs payroll, which I don't think they have the Ryan Yarborough reported on there, I'm going to open Fangraphs in another tab and relay this information over to you. Why I open Fangraphs and it's just a picture of Cashman because he's the person I want to see right now. I want to punch him. Okay, so it has Ryan Yarborough as a free agent. Oh, it has him on here as under contract. Okay, and it added Trent Grisham on here. Okay, because he has a guaranteed salary, it just added him on here. So the Yankees projected payroll right now, it says estimated payroll is 263 million. Final payroll is at estimated final is at 296 million, which is a lot. What's the red? Oh. Oh, no, that's for 2028. Oh. Giancarlo has a club option after 2027. I'm sure they're going to decline it. Um, because that projected does not count players not eligible yet for arbitration, and they're still paying 15 million to DJ LeMahieu. It'll be the final year of that. They have to pay 5 million to. Okay, this is interesting. They have a buyout. Okay, so it's a $10 million buyout or a $25 million for Stanton in a couple of years, but Miami's starting to pay money on that contract, and the Cubs are paying money on the Bellinger deal. The Yankees are paying $1 million still to Aaron Hicks. That's kind of cool. And then the fucking luxury tax is high as hell because the Yankees go over the tax. And unfortunately, the Yankees aren't going to stay under that tax again if they want to be a competitive team. As I'm watching in the background, the Nets and the Celtics start to separate themselves from the Nets. Here's some basketball. I'm a Knicks fan, but I watch it all. Okay, so this is okay. So Spot Track is accurate, and I like Spot Track more, so I'm going to use Spot Track over Fangraphs for payroll. And they 284 and change. So we'll round it up 285. So if what New York Post, those lovely people over at the New York Post are reporting is accurate, which is the key word in this sentence, if it's accurate, then we're led to believe the Yankees have $15 million left or less to spend this offseason, and they want another outfielder, another first base option, and a starting pitcher, and they have to fix the bullpen. So if Hal wants to bitch and moan about spending money, then he shouldn't have offered Trent Grisham the qualifying offer, right? Because that takes it down to what, 260 you would have had, or 262. If it's 284, it would have been 262 and change. Instead, you offer him the qualifying offer, which is beyond stupid. You offered it because you want the fourth round pick, or you secretly wanted him back. Now, the other issue, so now that's misallocation of funds. Once again, they don't know how to use money. Now they're going to be forced into going over the luxury tax, which I can guarantee you we're going into the season this year with at least one hole left unfilled. LOL. They're leaving a hole unfilled on this team. I don't know whether they're going to go in with one less starter and do what they did last year. I mean, even though the starting rotation right now is full and they're just going to have Yarborough until someone comes back because of the qualifying offer, that's an underwhelming because you don't know what Heel's going to look like. He could suck, and he's probably going to get hurt in spring training since he's always hurt. You don't know what Will Warren's going to look like. You don't know what Max Fried's going to look like because, we all love Max. But last year was the highest amount of innings he's ever pitched. We don't know what Cam Schlittler's going to look like. I love the kid. If anyone saw his Instagram story today, he spent some time to build some Legos, which is one of my favorite extracurriculars. Lego Star Wars he did today, which is kind of cool. One of my favorite people to on this team to follow, and is very interesting. I find him very interesting. We all know what he's going to look like in his second year after pitching the most innings he's pitched as a rookie. That starting rotation is full of, okay, this is great. It's also full of a shit ton of question marks. And the Yankees not being able to go out and add a starting pitcher potentially is going to kill that. And same with the bullpen. They need to get bullpen pieces in there. What they could do is they can dip into the minors. Now, and the other thing, everyone's saying still that the Yankees are going to pursue Cody Bellinger regardless. Cashman said it last week. Cashman also said last week that the payroll situation's fluid, and of all the issues in this organization, that's not one of them, is payroll. So maybe Hal told him, like, spend like a drunk. Maybe Hal came down with a statement saying, I'll give you as much money as you want to spend. Get me a winner. I don't know that. We don't know that. He said Hal didn't give him a number. I'm sure they had conversations. I mean, they talk every day. I'm sure the number was Hal didn't give me a number could also be code for Hal isn't giving me a number because there is no number this offseason. The number is let's give Grisham the QO. He was good for us. Let's go out and get Cody Bellinger. He was good for us. Let's go sign a frontline starting pitcher. That's going to help us. Because the other thing with this is last year the Yankees didn't make the World Series, obviously. The year before they did. And they had all the home games that they could have had at home for the World Series. And Hal Steinbrenner made more money. This year he didn't get money from the ALCS or the World Series. He was missing that money in his pocket. So what I'm alluding to with that is for a man who likes money, such as Hal Steinbrenner, it would be beneficial for Steinbrenner to invest in this team, and maybe they win next year and he gets that World Series money and gets that World Series merch money and other stuff like that. So that might be along his thinking. I don't have high hopes for that. I think they're still going to be, the cost-cutting Yankees. But there's the hope that Hal's deciding to spend this offseason because everyone's saying they're going to be aggressive, and Cashman himself said Grisham coming back isn't going to hinder us on going out and getting other pieces, which I like to hear. Now, what it might mean is Jason Dominguez, who went 0 for 4 today and lit him and looked horrific, especially from the left side of the plate, but he didn't look good today, and he didn't look great yesterday. I mean, it's 9 at bats, so we'll check back in periodically here, and I'll be keeping tabs. And one of my good friends who's going to be covering the Mets, for us at our new Subway Sports Network. He's going to be covering the Mets and Jets for us. He covers Lidum for another entity, and so I was talking to him a bit today. So that was cool. But I'll be keeping tabs on him. Of the two, who do I think they're more likely to trade? Spencer Jones. Because I think Dominguez has the higher upside, and Jason Dominguez has not had a lot of minor league experience. So my proposal to someone was, why don't they just sign some fucking middling outfielder, like a super defensive outfielder for next year, or no one, or just sign a Med Rosario at this point, who fucking gives a shit, because Caballero can go out there and you can shuffle people around, especially, Cabrera can go out to the outfield, Caballero as well, but Cabrera, until Volpe comes back, then both of them can. But defensive switches aren't going to be an issue because Trent Grisham, I mean, he was a negative defender in center, but so is Cody Bellinger. That's the other thing people aren't talking about with Cody Bellinger's defensive versatility. He was a negative in center. Trent Grisham was negative 2 outs above average in center field last year. Now, was that because of the hamstring strain? Maybe. Does he come out and look like the way he did? Could. Yeah, why not? He also wasn't a liability in center. The negative 2 outs above average are like a metric. From the eye test, I can count on one hand how many times I looked at it and was like, he should have gotten to that. Maybe pulling up on balls that have fallen, in front of his face more so. I can count a couple times where it's like, he should have gotten to that ball. Took like a bad route to it, which really happens with everyone if we're being totally honest here. He's not a total liability. So you wouldn't be hard pressed to have him in there late in a game is kind of what I'm getting at here. So Grisham to me is fine. I don't hate Grisham at all. This is not on Trent Grisham. This is on the Yankee organization, once again, not knowing how to run things and being incompetent. And if they're going to spend money this offseason, they better do it wisely. And if they're going to dip into the minors, and I'm going to get to the minors in the Rule 5 draft. So Rule 5 projections have been made. They have added 3 players to their 40-man roster. The first one that I have listed here is Chase Hampton. So Chase Hampton got Tommy John surgery. He got 25 Tommy John surgery this past February. So he'll be ready to pitch at some point this season in the minors. When he was healthy across 23 and 24, he posted a 3.25 ERA in 27 starts, striking out 161 batters. He was drafted out of Texas Tech in the 6th round. He ranks 8th among Yankee prospects according to Pipeline. The next one, and you can read all of what I'm reading. I posted this on my socials, as I do with everything. Spencer Jones headlines the position player group. He had sort of a breakout 2025 season with the Rail Riders. He appeared in all 3 outfield spots. He's ranked the best center fielder. Over 4 minor league seasons cumulative, he owns a 271 batting average, 349 on base, and a 490 slugging percentage, 72 home runs, which leads all major leaguers, and 109 steals. He's fast. He's athletic. The strikeouts are a problem. Next, Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, who the Yankees acquired in the trade for trading away Carlos Narvaez last offseason to the Boston Red Sox. Boston gave up a demon here. He went 11-8 with a 2.58 ERA in 150 innings pitched, which was second most in league strikeouts in the whole minors and 8th best ERA among qualified in the minors across both systems in 75 appearances. It's a 2.59 ERA, so better with the Yankees than he was with Boston, but consistent is my point. So those 3 are protected from the Rule 5 draft. What the Rule 5 draft is, for those who don't know, is what'll happen is MLB teams will be able to go on and have a list of players who aren't on the 40-man roster, right? So every team gets a list of players who are in the organization but not on the 40-man roster. And they'll see, I'll give an example. I'm not projecting anything. This isn't sourced. I'm just saying this is a player I know is unprotected. So let's say let's say Harrison Cohen, who's a pitcher, or Eric Reiselman, also a pitcher. Those 2 are both unprotected. So let's say the Kansas City Royals go on the Yankees page or flip open the Yankee, sheet and see Harrison Cohen, and they have the scouts and they have the profile, and they're like, we're going to select him. We're going to select him to be on our network. We're going to acquire him to be in our organization. What'll happen is he needs to be on their 40-man roster, and he needs to be on the major league roster the entire season. If they option him down at any point, he will be returned to the Yankee organization, and then they can do with him whatever they want. So that's how the Rule 5 draft works. So the Yankees pretty much said, okay, we're going to add Chase Hampton, Spencer Jones, and Elmer Rodriguez Cruz to our 40-man roster, which means if teams want them from us, they have to make a trade with us. The 40-man roster currently sits at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, this is going to be a lot. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Okay, so the Yankees 40-man roster is at 38 out of 40 potential spots. As I sifted through that roster, I saw about 4 names that could be non-tender to contract ahead of Friday. You could save little bits of money that way. Like, they're gonna upgrade the bullpen, so you could probably see them non-tender Scott Efros, Mark Later, Ian Hamilton for sure will be non-tendered. He wasn't even on the team for half the year. So guys like that will probably be non-tender to contract, so they'll be free agents, and the Yankees will no longer be responsible for them. So right now the Yankee position player group is filled out. We have Wells behind the plate, Rice at first, Chisholm at second. Caballero will start the year at shortstop because Volpe is on the IL. We have McMahon at third, Stanton at DH, assuming he's healthy, Judge in right, Dominguez in left, and Grisham in center. I should probably swap Grisham and Dominguez. I'll do that for the next episode. And then what'll happen is, actually, I might leave it just because if Bellinger returns, Bellinger's going to be. Oh wait, no, I should switch it. Bellinger will be slotted in left, and then if I were the Yankees, what I would do is I would option Jason Dominguez to AAA, and I would option Jason Dominguez down to AAA. And when Stanton gets hurt, then you call him up and have him DH. Or he could play in the outfield and just have guys move around a bit. That's what I would do. Or Judge needs a DH day, he could play in left and Bellinger in right or what have you. That's what I would do with Jason Dominguez. If there's an outfielder that goes on the injured list, I call him up. I would keep him because he has more of a versatility where he can come out and play, and they're going to want to use his options. I would trade away Spencer Jones because he might get you a higher return. Now, Brandon Woodruff of the Milwaukee Brewers accepted his qualifying offer. What that means is the Brewers are going to be looking to trade a starting pitcher, likely Freddie Peralta. If they are trading Freddie Peralta, the Yankees need to call them immediately. Freddie Peralta will be highly coveted on this market. Highly coveted. I like Freddie Peralta a lot. I really do. I think he's awesome. He would be someone I'd be interested in giving long-term money to, is kind of what I'm getting at here. Where if the Yankees decide, all right, we're going to not go on to Tatsui Imai because that's money. Even though someone put out that Grisham signing isn't preventing them from doing that because that's a multi-year deal. So what I'm getting here is they're going over the tax this year and then might restrict it in the future because they're going to have a lot more money coming off the books. I have no idea. That's the vibe I'm getting. But they need to do stuff. Yarbrough coming back is great. This is what the starting rotation for opening day looks like right now. And I posted this on Instagram yesterday, and I get a comment, "You forgot Colin Rodon." And then when I went to respond it, they took the comment down. I'm like, no, that wasn't the one. I replied to him like, yeah, because they're not on the roster. They're not going to be starting the season with the Yankees. They're going to be starting the season on the IL and then appearing with the Yankees. So that's the reason they're not on there. Alrighty. So I'm going to end it there. Grisham accepts the QO. When the non-tenders happen, if the Yankees don't non-tender anyone, I'm not going to come on here and do an episode. What if they do non-tender, or if something else happens, I will. Assuming the Yankees are going to non-tender some people, I'll come on here and we'll talk about what that means and what that could mean for the outlook. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Have a great day. Go Yankees. Make this a good off season, please.